Welcome along, everyone, to Sports Bits. Back for a brand new week, and of course, we are here to dissect everything sport as far as the Australian Opens, the NPFL, and of course, we'll touch base with all the top European leagues. Welcome along to Sports Bits. Once again, you can actually be a part of the show as well on social media, so continue to support the show, and of course, we will be bringing to you all the biggest sporting stories. Back in a bit. Welcome back to Sports Bits, back for a brand new week, and of course to dissect everything big sporting events from the last couple of days. Let's start off with that. Let's introduce Denny Falana. Good to see you here once more, back-to-back weekends. And look, you think about everything has happened, and we've had such an intense start to the year. Let's start off with the Australian Opens, which came to a grand end, and of course, two people taking a Grand Slam title with them. Talk to me about Novak Djokovic. 22 is the number he's most fond of at the moment, and after what was a terrible time last year in Australia, got back, got a revenge, got a trophy as well.
Yeah, definitely, and of course, it's a pleasure to be back on the show again. Talking about Novak Djokovic, I predicted before the tournament started that revenge is on his mind coming back into this tournament. Last year, he was deported. I mean, when you heard that someone like Djokovic deported, I mean, it sounds strange.
And
That was what happened. I mean, so COVID-19 restrictions, but Australian government, they relaxed the restrictions, and that allowed him, into the tournament, and he won the tournament. I mean, I said if he had played last year, I'm very sure Nadal wouldn't have won that tournament, and he has proved me right by winning it this year and beating Stefanos Tsitsipas. And he told Stefanos that you're going to play more finals. Don't worry, this is my time.
But isn't that what the big boys tell the upcoming ones, just to make you feel like it's I've won this thing? But
sure.
But surely Tsitsipas is a great player, and bands aside, jokes aside, he's going to have a great future as well.
Definitely. Roger Federer told Novak the same thing. Rafael Nadal told Novak the same thing. So I feel it's normal for him
passing down the baton.
Yeah, for him to tell other guys. And if you look at the chasing parks, talking about the ATP, the men's category, you look at Stefanos Tsitsipas, you look at Medvedev as the only two guys that can actually take the baton when Novak and Rafael Nadal eventually retires from the world of tennis.
Yeah.
So a good one for him. Tied Rafael Nadal up to the 2 Grand Slam. I'm expecting him. He's younger than Rafael Nadal, and a bit fitter than Rafael Nadal. So I'm expecting him to still add more Grand Slam titles to his name.
What a start to the new year. 2023 started off on a flyer for the man Novak Djokovic from Serbia, winning an Australian title, and of course also packing some bragging rights along the way. Let's switch base to the women's category. Talk to me about how that ended up their first Grand Slam title for Sabalenka. You've got to say that she's a player we've got to keep an eye on, because the final was remarkable. She came back from a first set down, to win the subsequent sets. Talk to me about how important that was for her.
Well, really, really important. But then again, before we came to the studio, we were talking about how the female category not really competitive, but you feel that it's competitive. That's what
it actually is very competitive. On the contrary,
but I feel it's a case of they don't have quality players. I mean, no disrespect to the women playing the tennis. Ever since Venus Williams and Serena Williams dominated, we've actually not had a tennis player go like 2-3 years, a dominating force. Is
it a case of lack of quality, or we're not just going to see that kind of dominance anymore? Because look, the flip side of the arguments is we've got the men's category dominated by Federer in the last couple of years, Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, and you can say that there is lack of competition there. But in the women's category, I mean, since Serena stepped aside, all the younger ones are saying you're not going to dominate, you're not going to dominate. So that's more competition, no?
I don't think so. I think it's on the big names, the supposed big names, that they are not really good enough like what we have on the male category. I mean, this year you can see Swiatek, another year you can see Victoria Azarenka, Pavlyuchenkova, you can see
Jabeur as well.
If Arsena Sabalenka gets knocked out of the second or third round of the next Grand Slam, which is the French Open, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, the British lady Emerald Kano, she won the US Open, and we're thinking maybe she can push on, but then again, she has been falling by the wayside. Coco Gauff has been knocking on the door of getting to the semi-final of a Grand Slam. That has not been possible. So I think it's just like I said earlier, it's a case of not having enough quality, like what we saw with Venus Williams and Serena Williams. They don't have enough quality to actually match on. I mean, the only player that I feel that should have done that was Ashley Barty, the Australian. But when she won the Australian Open last year, immediately she won that, she retired from tennis, and maybe just we could have seen a dominance of some sort, in the female category with her.
Well, of course, Sabalenka winning her first Grand Slam title out there in Australia. She actually competed under the independent flag, which means that she did not necessarily represent any country in that regard. Good to see her, of course, finally win a Grand Slam, especially off the back of some near misses as well. Well, great to talk about tennis here. So congratulations to Sabalenka in the female category and Novak Djokovic in the male category, winning a record 22 Grand Slams for himself. Let's move away from that. Let's get on to some Nigerian Premier Football League stories, where match day 4 saw Bendel Insurance continue what has been an impressive run so far. Look, they haven't lost any game, and we thought, look, this might be the week they eventually stumble against Remo Stars, who are also table toppers. Matter of fact, both teams went into the game tied on points. The difference was the goal difference. A bit of a cliche there, but talk to me about what Bendel are doing. Monday Odigi, the coach, I spoke to him at the start of the season, and he looked very calm and composed. And when you watch his teams play, you can see the same thing. We spoke to the player, the top scorer right now in the league, with Imadi, who has scored in the last 4 games. He has 4 goals in the league already. And he said they are playing to the instruction of the coach. And if, as a player, you play to the instruction of the coach, if you play to the instruction of the coach, you're going to succeed. Except the talent is not there for you. But if the talent is there and you play to the instruction of the coach, you practice very well, you do what you're supposed to do, you're definitely going to play very well. I mean, Jose Mourinho, if you don't play to the instruction of Jose Mourinho, I mean, you're out of the team immediately. And it's showing that, aside from the fact that they have this backing of the state government, the coach is also a very, very good tactician. I mean, going into a game against a team that you're level on points with, I wasn't expecting the scoreline. I mean, the goal started coming 3-0 in the Nigerian league against your fellow title aspirants. It's a very, very commendable result, and I think they've sent the message. If other teams have not gotten the message, now I think everyone has gotten the message. They've sent it. We're here to stay, and we'll not be going away anytime soon. Imba 2-0 winners over Kwara United. Imba now first win in 3 games, pretty much. Lost their last game, and you've got to say that was a defeat that would have hurt them so much, because it was scored at the death, back in Plateau United. But 2-0 against Kwara. Confidence restored. They can keep going now. They're currently 3rd in the Group A of the Bridge League format. A good result for them.
Definitely a good result. I mean, when you're talking about whether the 20 league format or their Bridge League, you always expect to find them not
around the top.
Around the top 4, and of course maybe top of the league. But they've not been playing very well. But then again, it's match day 4 in the league. Anything can still happen. I won't be surprised. And not that I'm trying to belittle what Benedict have been doing, but I won't be surprised if Enyimba come at the end of the day to top their Bridge League. But then again, early days, I think that they'll pick themselves up, and maybe that the win they got will be, the morale booster that
to keep going.
Exactly.
Well, Akwa United back-to-back wins for the first time this season. It was a tough start to the season. Lost their first game at home to Bendel Insurance. Drew the second game against Eyimba. They've won their last 2 games now. A great result for them as well. So they're currently 4th on the table. Let's get on to other teams. Rivers United, of course, with back-to-back wins as well. So keep an eye on Rivers United. Also, there is an interesting story developing with Enugu Rangers, who have not won a game so far this season. 2 draws in their last 2 games after losing their opening 2 games. So I think it's not quite going well for both teams there.
Maybe a bit of of improvement.
I mean, you would say so, but
you're losing your first 2 games and during the last 2 games, maybe a bit of improvement.
Matter of fact, they're the only one of 2 teams in the Group B Bridge League format, alongside 2 guitarists that are yet to pick up maximum points on the match day so far. So keep an eye on things there, because the league continues to keep going quickly till the 18th game. Right then, let's get away from all things Nigerian Premier Football League. Let's touch base now with where the meat of the story is pretty much in. Let's start off with Italy in Europe, where a certain Victor Osimhen scored what was a remarkable goal against AS Roma. 2-1, the final score there. Roma gave them a bit of a scare in the end. But ultimately, Napoli are showing that whatever you put in front of us, if we're not scoring plenty, we'll find a way to overcome those hurdles. Look, they could be winning this title because AC Milan, who are defending champions, got beat 5-2, the same week as well. So when that happens in a match week, when you've got big rivals losing games and you're picking up difficult points as well, that tells you that something might just be in the offing, written in the stars maybe?
Definitely. I mean, when you look at Juventus, when they won the title back-to-back under Max Allegri, they know how to pick maximum point against the so-called title contenders, and they believe that the title contenders will pick points against themselves. And that has been the hallmark of what Juventus have been doing, for the last 5-6 years. And I think that is what they are doing this season. They've been able to pick maximum points against the so-called title contenders, Inter Milan, Juventus, AC Milan, AS Roma, and they believe that those teams will pick points against each other, and that has been working for them. And maybe Luciano Spalletti will finally get his hand on the Serie A title this time around. 13 points, ahead of their closest rival, and that is Inter Milan, who are also very, very inconsistent this season. I think the other big teams are very, very inconsistent. When you feel that Roma are picking wins, they end up dropping 2-3 games, and Inter Milan also, I won't be surprised. They struggled to beat Cremonese in the last game. And I think it's Napoli's time.
It's fair to say that 13 points. It's not unassailable, but when you've played 20 games and you have 53 points, it is quite the march to the title, right? So keep an eye on Napoli. Of course, we've been keeping an eye very much so on Victor Osimhen, who at the moment, a lot of people consider him maybe the best striker in the world. Is he the best striker in the world at the moment? You think about Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, who are the ones in his category. Huge compliment for Victor Osimhen. Jose Mourinho tells him, look, you're on the same level as Didier Drogba, and the only thing you've got to cut out of your game is diving. So that's huge praise. That's a guy who knows about strikers. Mourinho's had Diego Milito, he's had Cavani, he's had all these players. Ronaldo. Look, so when he tells you that you're on the same level as Didier Drogba, that's high praise.
Definitely high praise. And Victor Osimhen has shown that if he can stay fit, then he's going to be a deadly striker. I mean, moving from Belgium to France to Italy, and maybe people are expecting the journey to be completed by moving to England at the end of the season. I did January transfer window. People thought maybe they can prize him, but hey,
no
Napoli, this is a chance to win their first Scudetto since Diego Maradona, and Victor Osimhen is at the forefront of that particular title challenge. They don't want to lose him right now. The highest goal scorer in the Italian Serie A, and you don't want to lose such player. It has shown that last season, 2 seasons ago, when he wasn't fit, they paid dearly for it. He is fit and firing on Osimhen. You don't want to bet against him scoring more than 20 goals this season. I mean, he's already on 15 in just 20 games. I mean, 5 goals, 6 goals. You expect more from Victor Osimhen, and I think maybe the job will be completed for him if he moves to the English Premier League. But I don't want him to move to the red side of Manchester. I mean,
just putting it out there, right? Just putting it out there. A little bit of banter never killed anybody here on Sports Twitter, but boy, oh boy, Victor Osimhen take a bow as far as all things European football. One of the best strikers at the moment. Right then. Welcome back to Sports Bits. Trust you're having a great time wherever you're watching us from. We totally appreciate you tuning in. Same time every single period when we come your way here. Adeni Falana is still here in the studio, and we're having a great chat. We've just had that really nice chat about Victor Osimhen, and the messages are coming in tell you that everyone here in Nigeria, at the very least, and the world as well, are watching what an incredible star, global superstar in the making we have on our hands here. Let's talk about the FA Cup in England. Fifth round took place last weekend, and look, you've got to say that, you know, Arsenal at the moment are thinking maybe need to narrow our focus a little bit and, you know, challenge one thing. I've spoken to some Arsenal fans in the last couple of days, and they said, look, we're sort of glad that we got knocked out of the FA Cup. Surely that cannot be true, but a defeat always hurts. But on the brighter side of things, it might be, you know, maybe the best route to focusing completely on that Premier League title match. 1-0 against City. What would you say about that?
Well, I might not totally agree with that. You know, so I mentioned that. I mean, it's fine that Arsenal got knocked out of the FA Cup, because if you keep playing games and you keep winning, that keeps your momentum very, very high. And but then again, if you look at it on another side, the team is not that doesn't have enough squad depth, and maybe that is why some Arsenal fans are happy that Arsenal got knocked out of the tournament. And you could see when Mikel Arteta took Partey from the team, Lokonga's replacement didn't really cover himself, you know, in glory, and that really affected.
We hear there's a rib injury at the moment to Thomas Partey. Look, if he doesn't stay fit, right, that could derail Arsenal's title challenge, because this player, you know, Moses Salcedo, is a player that's been mentioned a lot in the last couple of days in the transfer window. It doesn't look as if though Arsenal can shift him in this window, but I mean, worrying times there with that Partey injury. Definitely
worrying times. If you look at the games Arsenal has lost this season against United in the Premier League, Brighton in the Carabao Cup, and PSV in the Europa League, Partey
has been missing.
Yeah, has been missing. And also the second half of the game against City, he didn't play. So maybe Arsenal fans have enough ground to say that, yeah, Partey, whenever he doesn't play, we don't function very well. And that, if you look at it, it's actually true. And maybe that's why Arteta is trying to get another DM into the team, so that when Partey leaves, the quality doesn't drop. Because whether we like it or not, there might be a replacement for him, but the quality would definitely drop. And you know, players like Thomas Partey, it's funny that, you know, 10, 15 years ago, we don't really pay more attention to other departments, you know, in the team. You talk about the goal scorers, the assist makers in the team, but these days we are paying attention to goalkeepers, defenders, DM, and they are going for big money. And that's why Brighton are also saying that, yeah, if you want to prize one of our most important player,
got to pay £75 million.
You need him in your team. You know that Arsenal need this player in the team, so you have to pay a lot of money to
pretty much the law of the market, demand and supply. Arsenal need the player. Brighton have got the player, and Arsenal need to pay up the big bucks for the player. But I mean, the transfer window ends pretty much comes to an end this week, and you've got to say that, you know, Arsenal have, like it or not, strengthened their squad. You know, Leandro Trossard came in, and I thought he looked a really good player. So Martinelli knows, you know, that there's a bit of a threat there as well. But when you look at the halfway of the season, which Arsenal eventually got into at the moment, you know, you've got to say it's a really good halfway point. 50 points already in the Premier League is really good. What about Manchester United, who are still in 4 competitions at the moment? League Cup, FA Cup, still in the running for a Premier League title, or maybe a top 4 finish. And also they've got that massive tie with Barcelona set up for sometime mid-February. So things are going well under Erik ten Hag as well.
Definitely. I mean, a bit surprising. I mean, we thought it's going to come into change everything about the team. He has done that actually, and Casemiro has been a wonderful player.
Another DM,
you know, that was needed in the team ever since Roy Keane and maybe Carrick. I don't think United have had an influential DM in the team, and for Casemiro to come into the team, he has done a very, very good job, and I think that has allowed other players in the team to play to their strength, except for Sancho. That, I mean, that we don't know what's wrong with him right now. But United, I think they should be able to beat Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup final. Though Newcastle, they still have the second leg to play against Southampton, but I think they will be able to do the job against Southampton. So I think United should win the Carabao Cup. The FA Cup, City are still in the tournament. yeah, maybe they beat City in the Premier League, so they can do that again.
Right.
But the Premier League, I think the top 4, United should get into the top 4 for next season.
Well, of course, Liverpool also got knocked out of the FA Cup by, guess who? Brighton, who are causing problems for everybody. Look, Liverpool, clearly this season is gone to smithereens at the moment. Things are not going quite well. The season now rests on that Champions League tie against Real Madrid, and we know Liverpool can raise the bar when it comes to those big European nights under the floodlights. Look, Premier League title clearly done and done. They can't win that. League Cup, they're out of that. FA Cup, out of that. So totally now all rests on that Champions League.
I don't think they can do anything differently from what we'll be seeing in the Premier League and other tournaments. I think Fabio can play like the way he used to play before. Jordan Henderson can play the way he used to play before, and that is taking.
So this is a case of team aging.
Maybe, just maybe, the midfield is not the midfield we used to know with Liverpool before, and that is why the entire team is struggling, because bulk of their plays about the runners in the midfield, and they don't have those legs anymore. They don't have those legs anymore, and that is why it looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold is a bad player. He's not a bad player. Salah is not a bad player. Right. Just like you said, you used to say, players don't just turn bad overnight. And I think if the midfield is aging, maybe they need a bit of refreshing to do in the midfield. But club has said no more business this January, maybe summer, and let's see what can happen. That is if he's still on the job by summer. But I don't think they can do anything against Real Madrid. But of course, Liverpool clinging on to their season by a thread, and of course, things haven't quite gone so well for them. But just to wrap up the show today, some transfer business has been happening. Chelsea in the mix of all the biggest transfer deals, and we're hearing that Malo Gusto has joined Chelsea as well. Right back, Chelsea pretty much needed cover for Reece James. Right then, we're going to take another break, and we're going to have you see what is our player of the week here on Sports Pizza. Hope you enjoy our pick. And that is how we drop the anchor here on Sports Bit. Hope you enjoyed our pick for Player of the Week, something I always look forward to, just to see what the producers come up with here on the show. But we totally enjoyed that. Fala Nardini, also a pleasure to always have you, and thank you very much indeed. Great stuff then. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Remember to follow us on social media, YouTube as well, Sports Pizza across all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course on TikTok as well. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.